Alright, gang, doing the Tower Defense Simulator Towers tier list again. Hopefully these weren't scrambled, or hopefully they were scrambled, because I know, um, I just tried recording this before, and they were already there, so I had to just put them back, but I put them in, like, the exact same order as they were on the tier list, so I just had to scramble them a little bit now. But yeah, anyway, let's get started. Electroshocker. Honestly, it really depends on what you're using it for, like what game mode. I'd say usually it's like B tier tower. Let me quick just make another row below here for F. Okay, that's good. Slasher, I'd say, I'm going to put Slasher in A, actually, just because of the bleed thing. It can make it really good if you set it as the strongest. It can do actually a lot of damage to, like, high health enemies, which you normally don't expect from a melee tower, but, it's good. So, Farm, S+. Normally you can't win without it unless you're using, like, Cowboy or Gold Cowboy, but if you have to bring that to pretty much all the game modes, then it's got to be like one of the best towers in the game. Yeah, Gold Minis S tier. Pretty self-explanatory. You can place 15 of them, and they do like 240 DPS. They cost like a little bit less than Accelerator to max out, so it's fair too. And it's basically just Accelerator, but you can place more of them. So obviously it's gonna be an S. I'm still putting Accelerator in S just because I think it's a little more. It just has a little bit more DPS, and the only thing that's holding it back from S plus really is targeting, and just reliability with the cooldown thing. Gold Scout used to be like almost one of the best towers in the game, pretty much. Almost the best. I'd say it's kind of fallen off though, because there's so many other early game options that are just better at this point. That like gold, and it can't really keep up with the other towers in the late game anymore like it used to. So yeah, I can't put it any higher than A. Archer, yeah, Archer's kind of ass. I don't know why you'd ever use this unless you're just trolling, but yeah. And then Demo Man's also D tier. Don't have to really explain this. Scout 2. And then, okay, Pursuit. It's going to get buffed in like 2 days. But for now, I'm just going to put it in A tier because it's got decent DPS. You can place 10 of them. I think once it gets buffed, it will go up into S tier here. So, yeah, just waiting for that pretty much. Pyromancer's normal Pyro. I'm actually going to still put it in A tier just because the defense melt is really good and it's just very good for the early game. Mortar, also A tier. You don't use it that much, but when you do use it, like, it's very, very useful for what it does. So, yeah, I'm just going to put it there just because you can use it in hardcore mode and stuff, and it's really good for air. DJ's S+, obviously, just because it's a support tower, and it like buffs things by like 25%, which is a lot. And it even has an ability now. So, yeah, you can't really put it any lower than that. Harvester, B tier. It should get buffed. Like, it was really hard to beat Night 3. The only thing that carries it is the ability and a synergy with the farm, too. But they just gotta buff its main DPS, and make it so you can place more of them. Maybe nerf the ability a little bit to make it balanced. But yeah, right now it's like B tier tower. Trapper, I'm also gonna put it in B tier. It used to be, I think, before this last update, I'd put it in A, but they nerfed it a little bit now, so they have like a max timing, but it's also kind of a buff because it lets you switch out the bomb bombs that are already there, or like you can get higher level ones once they run out. But they also, I think they fixed this bug where it would throw all the bombs the same at like the same rate, which it was supposed to not be like that. I think the landmine was it was supposed to like throw the landmines the slowest, but it was the same. So if you just select a landmine, you would get so much more DPS than you should have been getting, and it was actually it was almost like I'd say it would be like in between A and S probably how it used to be, but it got nerfed. So yeah, Ace Pilot A tier. We have a lot of A tier towers right now, but yeah, this it used to be S, but it got nerfed also. Yeah, nothing else really to say there. I'm gonna just put War Machine S, even though you can't really use it. We all know it's just an admin tower and it's decent. I don't know where to put this. I think I would have put it in S plus before, but they nerfed it. So what the units or something, they have a timer now. So yeah, that kind of sucks for it. Okay, Executioner is very interesting because if I just went off its like normal stats and how it should perform, I'd say probably B tier. But I'm gonna actually put an S because it has this bug where eventually like it will just start doing lingering damage and like it'll throw the axe like really fast, which basically just makes its fire rate a lot better, and it just does so much damage. Like it can do up to 1,000 DPS, and it's not even supposed to. So in its current bugged state, I'm gonna put it in S tier. Like you guys gotta try it out. It's actually super good. Engineer S plus. It's like pretty much. Well, it's not the best DPS tower in the game anymore. It's the second, but yeah, it's like you can use it like at any part of the game pretty much. So that's why it's S plus. Jester, probably just still A tier. I know people think it got like nerfed to the ground, but it really wasn't that bad. Um, the only thing that they nerfed about it, I think, is that uh, it can't turn around bosses with the confusion bombs anymore, and it also doesn't get hidden detection until level 3. But you know, it's once PvP comes out, this thing is going to be a beast. They might even have to like ban it from the game mode completely. Same thing with the Executioner, with if it's still bugged, and probably the Harvester too. But yeah, it's gonna be an absolute beast at just taking care of all the swarms, just with the poison and confusion and ice combined. Like nothing's getting past a bunch of these, especially if you have like engineers and like a Gatling gun with it. Medic S tier. I mean, there's a lot of game modes like Blue Wastelands and Hardcore and stuff like that. Like, it's very hard to win without the medic, and its base stats are pretty terrible, but the ability carries the entire thing. So yeah, it's definitely S tier. Normal minigunner A tier. It's almost S, but I don't think it feels right to put gold mini and normal mini on the same tier. But yeah, you can place infinite amount of normal minigunners, and they do quite a bit of DPS. So it's definitely worth bringing. Warden is also A tier. It's just really good DPS, pretty much. That's it, and it blocks stuns, and it also stuns enemies. So very all around good melee tower. Freezer, probably C tier. The I would put it higher if we'll get to it, but if the Frost Blaster didn't exist, I'd put Freezer higher, and also the Cryomancer because they're literally just better Freezer. Same thing with Electroshocker. So yeah, there's no real point to bringing Freezer if you have those other towers. Swarmer sucks. Like there's no getting around it. It's just ass. Elf Camp. It used to be better, but you know it's just fallen off. It hasn't gotten buffed like all the other towers have. And I think a good way to buff it would literally just be to increase its placement limit to like 5 or something. Because the 2 placement limit is just so restricting. Like it's just not worth bringing. Mecha Base S plus, but you can't use it because it's stupid admin tower. Toxic Gunner B tier. I mean, it'll be good in like PvP once that comes out because you can just set it to random and it just destroys its crowds. But it doesn't have hidden detection, which kind of sucks because um, it can't really be used for the early game then. Which otherwise, I mean, if it did have hidden detection, it would be like one of the best early game towers in the game. So it kind of makes sense, but yeah, it can't be any higher than B tier. Frost Blaster's S tier, not S plus, yeah S. It's just like really freaking good. Like if you use it and you just set it the farthest, and you get a bunch of these guys, like it's just basically infinite stun. Like if you have this tower, you should be using it like whenever you are in like anything more than a solo. You should definitely be bringing this because it can just carry. Necromancer A tier. People sleep on the Necromancer, but because like if you get it on a map that is good enough that you can have like the skeletons spawn like farther down the track or something, if there's like a big turn, then it's really good. That's pretty much it. And it also does like 400 DPS in total if there's 7 enemies in its range. And yeah, it's really good if you can use it. Brawler's S probably used to be S plus, but it did get nerfed a little bit. The main thing is it doesn't have hidden detection anymore, but it shouldn't be that much of a problem just because if you use it for the early game, it does enough DPS that you can also use it for the late game. So you can always just bring something like if you can bring a sub DPS tower that has hidden detection pretty much, or a main DPS even, because like you should be able to afford like something like a golden minigunner by the time hiddens come out. So yeah. Rocketeer, yeah, it's C tier. It's just not good. I mean, the only reason you would ever bring this would be maybe like an event or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, there's not really any point to bringing it though, because the mortar exists. So yeah, Commander's S plus. It just is. Yeah, it's like 50% fire rate buff with the ability. It's just crazy, and also the spawning. That's really good too. Militant. Probably B tier. I think it did get buffed recently, but it wasn't that much. It's still kind of just like the tower that people that like recently started the game get for their main DPS, pretty much. It's okay. It does its job. Ranger's S plus actually. Actually no, it got nerfed recently. Yeah, it did get nerfed a little bit, so I'm gonna have to put it in S instead. But yeah, it's just like really good. It can't get stunned. Does decent splash damage. Really good single target DPS, especially when you use like mercenary base or something with it. It's just, and obviously it's really reliable because it's got full map range pretty much. Like on almost every single map, it's got full map range. The only thing that holds it back obviously is hidden detection, but you know you can most of the time you're just going to be able to bring someone with hidden detection, so it shouldn't be a problem. Cowboy, normal cowboy, still probably A tier, I'd say, just because it generates good money, and just decent DPS overall. There's no real problem with the cowboy that stands out. It's just an all-around decent tower. Sludger's B used to be better, but did get that nerf where it doesn't fully stun things anymore when it hits them the first time. It does like that chill thing that the Freezer and the Cryomancer do, which is kind of weird, but yeah, it did nerf it quite a bit, so that sucks. Gatling gun S plus, best DPS tower in the game. If you have it, unless you're just lazy, like you should be bringing it every single time. But yeah, the only thing is you have to actually like use it and not just sit there, pretty much. Gold Cowboys S. Yeah, it sometimes it's even better than farm at generating money, and it can be a really good early defense tower. So basically, you're just saving yourself a tower slot if you bring it. But there are some times where you need to bring farm in another tower, just if there's not enough for the gold cowboy can handle. Yeah, probably just put this in B tier. It's kind of like the militant, but I'd say it's a little bit worse. It's still B tier though. It's better than these towers. Okay, gold crook S tier. Very good for the mid game. You can place 5 of them, which is good. Yeah, there's really no problems with this tower, I'd say. It's got flying detection and hidden detection, so you can use it in hardcore. Yeah, it's just all around really good. Gold Pyro, also going in S tier. Just a better version of the Pyro, cheaper to upgrade, at least early levels, I think. I know it's cheaper to place. Just very good crowd control and defense melting, pretty much. Sniper is D tier. Yeah, it's just not good. Like, it obviously it's a starter tower, so what can you really expect? Hunter now. I'm gonna put it in B. I used to put it all the way in D, but it did get a buff where it does 60 DPS now, which is a lot for a starter tower. I think that's even more than a militant, and it also has flying detection and obviously hidden detection too, and very long range. So probably the best starter tower to get. Actually, I'm gonna put it at the start of B tier. It's like it feels weird to say, but it's almost A tier. It's really good cost efficiency. Crook Boss is A tier, pretty much just gold Crook Boss, but a little bit worse, just less DPS. It does cost less though, so that's good. This is also going in A. Airstrike is very clutch sometimes. Basically just using a consumable, but you don't have to use up a consumable. So that is very useful, and the tanks are just good. So yeah. Gladiator. Okay, it used to be like S plus. It used to be really good, but it has been overshadowed a lot. I'm gonna put it. I just can't put it in B. It's better than these towers, but I'm gonna put it in the lower A tier, I'd say. I'm probably not gonna like organize these towers within the tiers, but I'm just using this for a reference, I guess. Yeah, it's just been overshadowed, and it like for some reason when you use the ability, he just like stops attacking for a couple seconds, which is weird. They should not have added that. I don't know why they did that. That was very stupid. Commando's F tier. Yeah, it's just ass. It is gonna get buffed in a couple days though with the rework. I hope it's in a couple days because on the TDS update log or whatever they said coming soon, which I assume will be this week. So that is gonna be exciting, and then we're basically just gonna be left with Swarmer being the worst tower in the game. Paintballer, C tier. It's better than these guys because it got a buff, but then it got a buff and then it got nerfed again. But I think combined though is buff overall pretty much. Turret, A tier. Yeah, it's A tier. The only thing holding it back is the placement limit and the cost pretty much, but it does do like 400 DPS, which is very good for a level 50 tower. Yeah, that's going in S. It feels weird now because the golden scout is the worst golden tower, I think. But yeah, Gold Soldier, Flying Detection. You can use it in hardcore, obviously. You can use it in pretty much everything and have success. It's just a good tower overall. It's even good for late game, too. Now, Shotgunner. I don't know. Probably. It used to be like super good because they buffed it, but then they nerfed it again. I don't know if I should put it in A or B tier. There's got to be something in the middle. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? New row, just for the shotgunner. It's in between A and B tier. I really don't know where to put it, so I'm just gonna do that. Hollow Punk definitely needs a buff. Putting it in C tier. It's not quite as terrible as these ones, but it is not good. I don't know why they made the Harvester and Hollow Punk just so bad. That was just not a good idea. Cryomancer, S tier. Like it's just very good at stalling. It just does its job really, really well. And if you need a stalling tower, you're either gonna use this or you're gonna use Frost Blaster. And if you don't have any of those, then you're gonna use Electroshocker. But yeah, these are both S tier towers, which is cool because they're event towers. So I mean, yeah, this is my tier list. Rated. I think this is a perfect tier list actually. But yeah.